What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as they say. Round 18 of the Silver Championship. Basically, it's a rerun of last night, isn't it? 22 points separates the two championship protagonists of Mayran and Sweet then. Of course, we did have the Duke involved as well, but the Duke has had a horrific run of form. In the last three races, the Duke has DNF'd. He has not scored any single point, which I think realistically the Duke is out of the championship, I think, even though mathematically he is not. And same with the constructors as well. Basically, it is basically a copy and paste from last night. But also as well, Williams needs a 1-2 with McLaren scoring. I think literally McLaren have to be ninth or lower for the constructors championship to go on to Qatar in a week's time. So McLaren are almost home and dry for the constructors. Of course, last night, Racing Bulls in their first appearance in ALR Grand Prix racing this season, albeit they've been in many guises, haven't they, in Formula One. But as a Racing Bull entity, they, of course, have won the Constructors' Championship for the first time as an entry, so very much emulated Brawn GP. Of course, we got the Upside Down Pig as the the track layout. Then let's go for the drivers and the constructors. Hello, one and all, says Paul. As Paul's also changed his name as well. Fantastic. We've also got it's time to risk it all down the strip of heart and sorrow. Says Farf. I think I've just seen a comment come through as well. We are ready when you're ready, Ginger Age. I am born ready, and all that kind of stuff. Or is it born in the USA? Potentially something like that. Let's go for the drivers and the construction. But yes, I am ready and willing to go, which is all cool stuff indeed. Right, that is of course. The admins usually tell me when they're ready to go, but then of course I don't have my Discord on during the race because otherwise I'll read stuff which I'm not allowed to read out. Or am I? Well, yeah, to be honest, I read out whatever I want, to be honest, which is never a good thing, is it? Because I should really read the comments before reading them out, if that makes sense. If you get the cut of my jib and all that stuff. Right, I've actually I've got quite a lot of time here, so fantastic. Right, Mayran leads the championship by 22 points out from a Sweet in second position, then 22 points separates the top two in the championship. Duke is 55 points further back, then he needs to score at least 3 points tonight to keep the championship, to keep his championship hopes alive. Excuse me. And then we got Markey in fourth position, also technically in the championship as well, albeit then he needs basically, I think he needs basically a win tonight, doesn't need to keep his hopes alive. In that second, McLaren and McLaren have had a horrific run of form, haven't they, over the summer period, which is basically, I think has almost cost Mayran, and certainly has cost Mark in the championship. Kiki in fifth position on 119 points, 100 points for Jin, and then of course in that Williams, Jin has got an important role tonight, then along with Duke, if they want to keep the Constructors' Championship hopes alive. Vesser in 7th position. Great season for Vesser, 84 points. Camera Racer on 77 points. Tory, then I think it's been a disappointing season for the Aston Martin driver on 59 points. 57 for Riley. Great run of form there for Riley. Now 10 points in front of RTB, who's just outside the top 10. Gordo on 35 points. 32 points for Luke then. Then we got Kaidal on 24. 23 for Slop. 22 for Katie. Goodness gracious me, it's so close. 15 for Irvine on, then 14 for Game, and then Jay Hinks on 11, and Farf bringing up the rear, lol, in the 20th position there. Oh, goodness gracious me. Not loyal about the Farf hitting the bottom of the championship. I was actually more loyal about my phrasing there. Constructors' Championship looks like this. Too good to miss. It is McLaren at 19 points in front of the Williams team, and the two classical British teams going head-to-head, albeit it's not really a head-to-head anymore. It's Williams needs a miracle to win the Constructors now. But they might be more concerned about second position because Haas have now started to go on a really good run of form, especially with Gamer and Sweet now piloting the American team. Then, of course, technically in their home race as well. Lovely sunshine. Oh, well, not sunshine, is it? Lovely under the night sky. Red Bull then 68 points away from the Haas team. Alpine only 18 points behind the Red Bull team. Aston Martin then 50 points away from Alpine. And then we've got Kick Sauber on 85 points, 72 points for the Ferrari team. Racing Bulls, of course, won the Gold Constructors Championship last night. They are ninth in the in silver. And, of course, Mercedes, and just like in gold, are having a horror show of a season, unfortunately. But it's not over till it's over, then, is it? As we are got cars on circuit already. I have not got rid of the graphic on the screen, then, which is not good. Where's my streaming malarkey gone? There it is. Fantastic. Oh gosh. Potstuff, good evening. Good evening to everyone there. Good evening to you, Potstuff. Of course, great race last night from Potstuff getting his first points of the season, which doesn't sound too good, does it, when I put it that way? However, Potstuff, that was only his second or third Grand Prix start of the season, so maybe I should have phrased it more like that. And we've got Junior on circuit, and of course, one of the big news in real Formula One, anyway, is of course they are having a bit of a logo change, identity change there for the Williams team now. Well, to be honest, it's more of a logo change, really, is it? Basically, yeah, it's not a big logo change, to be fair. So, hello to you, Gordo, as well. So we got you all popping into the studio, which is number 17, and of course we're 5 minutes early, which is also good for me because I gotta say, it took me well over an hour last night to do the graphics, which Knowlesy does in about 5 minutes, and I call myself an IT illiterate guy, which I'm absolutely not after last night's champagne shambolic attempt there. Nolsey, who is not on holiday last night, shockingly enough, but as he was waiting at the airport, so technically Nolsey wasn't on holiday and he actually missed the race. I'm shocking. But of course, he's going over to Brazil and he's actually watching the Brazilian Grand Prix. Sorry, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix this weekend, which looks to be wet. Which, of course, I remember last year that Max Verstappen's one of his best races ever seen. Well, one of the best races you'll ever see from an F1 driver. Max Verstappen, incredible stuff indeed. Here comes Jenner, one of the best qualifiers on the grid. Then I would hazard a guess then in all of ALR Grand Prix racing, where that's gold, silver, bronze on the event link. Across the line we go then for Jenner. Let's go on board with the Williams drive then as we go down into turn 1, 2, and 3. Then it's a never-ending turn 1, 2, and 3. Of course, Jenner's hasn't been on pole position at all this season actually, which is quite shocking indeed. In terms of the pole position stats this season, Mayran does have 7 pole positions to Sweet's 3, and I think that is basically Mayran has won the pole position award then, which I'm sure he's going to be overjoyed with that, isn't he? Then of course, as I'm sure he takes it very seriously indeed, doesn't he? In terms of reserves tonight, I've only got 1 reserve actually, which is great stuff indeed there compared to gold last night, where well, it took me forever and a day to get them all on my spreadsheet. As Jenner then coming up around the sphere section actually, and now then as he comes onto the strip as well. And of course, this part of the course here, I think is going to be replayed again, and again. Blink twice for help. Well, to be honest, I'm always fluttering my eyes when I see Serious Mushroom. As once again, I forgot to turn my notifications off. I must admit, I do turn my notifications off. Well, I'm in Do Not Disturb, so no, it ends up lying. I thought I turned off my party notifications, but I actually haven't. But as we just got Jenner, look at that, touching 212 miles an hour down the strip. And then just a glancing blow with the bar, not the barrier there, glancing blow the curve there for Jenner to set our first time on the board here tonight for the silver action. Then across the line he comes, and of course the finish line's in a different place than the start line, because of course the finish line needs to be in line with the FIA garages, just in case there's a dead heat. Albeit I don't think that's a major problem these days, is it then? But I'm sure that rule's been in place for a long time. Well, if I made that up, I'm sure I've seen that rule somewhere. But I must admit, I see a lot of things in different areas of life, and some of it's sometimes not relevant. Camera Racer, Jenner and Camera Racer are probably the 2 of the quickest peddlers, pound for pound, in a silver. Silver? Yes, they are in silver, but also in a single lap of ALR Grand Prix racing as well. So is a Camera Racer counting down the first of 2 back straights. I was saying something. What was I saying? I can't remember now. Anyway, whatever the case may be, of course, we got a new Constructors Champions at the Forum Racing Ball last night. Tonight we could have a second Constructors Championship win from the McLaren team as well. You can block me. You can't block me, Sean. Says Serious Mushroom. Sweet has gone pole position with Gamer going third fast in the second Haas car. As Cut has gone 5th at 1. To be honest, I don't even know how to block you, Serious Mushroom. So that's which. Have you changed your name? Has everyone changed their names tonight? We got Up Paul Fark tonight. We got Potstuff 86, and we've also got Gordo. But also Gordo's got a different name as well. And Serious Mushroom's now got 86585. If I could read it, it would help. But Sweet's currently on pole position. Of course, he's had 3 pole positions in this season so far. Sweet, if you can remember about 2 weeks ago, which I struggled to be fair, Sweet then, of course, great drive last time out in Sao Paulo, won the Grand Prix with less than a quarter to go. Then very much 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix vibes, wasn't it, in silver a few weeks ago, and maybe even the vibes of a former ex-gamer who beat German going up that hill as well. I think actually it was at 1 lap, wasn't it, towards the end there in German's championship winning season. Was it season 2 or 3 for silver? Goodness gracious me. Riley's gone into 4th. Riley's been superb in the second half of this season then. And now we've got Marky going fastest so far. Apparently, YouTube has done it then. YouTube must have done it because I've not changed anything to pot stuff. To be honest, YouTube probably have done it, and they've probably done it months ago, and I've only just noticed that. But in my defence, I don't really have a defence. However, what is a very important day today? It is World Sandwich Day. So, of course, I hope you've all enjoyed your sandwiches. I had a ham and cheese sandwich before coming on there tonight, and I did wolf that down quite quickly indeed. But unfortunately, I think I've given myself indigestion. Here comes Tori with the best helmet design on the grid, in my opinion. Of course, I would like to say that he mirrored that helmet of a certain Ginger Rage, but unfortunately, for me, unfortunately for me, I don't think that's the case at all. Because Tory had that helmet designed well before I did. For 8 fastest out for the Aston Martin driver, I have been very critical of Tory, haven't I? Really, as I feel that this season's probably been a bit lackluster. As I was expecting Tory to be in the top 3 of the World Championship this season, that has not been the case. Whether that has been car problems or whether that's been Tory problems will remain to be seen. As we're on board with Farf, who is bottom of the championship at the moment, and here comes Sloth as well, who has also had a bit of a glow. May have had a glow up, but he's also had a blow to the wall as well. As that Sloth now just coming through the part of the sphere. Then age verification rubbish, says Serious Mushroom. That's why you need a VPN. Oh, I didn't say that. Sloth coming down the strip as well. To be fair, actually, of course, VPNs can be useful, especially if you need to be on a secure network, if you're going to work and all that jazz. But I don't think VPNs are kind of going out of fashion now in the workplace, aren't they? Of course, we all have Microsoft multi-factor authentication and all that stuff, which I must say is turning me ginger to grey. Oh, it's Sloth there, goodness me. That is a lot of understeer in that Red Bull, and another blow with the wall. Goodness gracious me, I gotta say, Sloth is not treating this Red Bull with any kind of tender love and care tonight, as he has been bashing the walls and goes 12th fastest out. I feel there's more in the piggy bank there for Flarf. I was going to say, here is Farf for Sloth, and here comes Farf navigating his way through the final part of the lap. Then Farf had his best result of the season last time out in Sao Paulo with an 8th position there, but still bottom of the championship and currently on course to be racing Wednesdays next week for bronze. Now Farf is currently 10th fastest at the moment. I'm looking for R2 Beat. There he is, coming out of the strip section as well. I need to learn this track, to be honest, don't know a bit more, because I haven't really looked at the corner names, which is shocking stuff indeed. Across the line now, R2B is the second slowest time runner so far. Pretty disappointed for the Aston Martin driver, I would say that. Oh, Farf has head ready up, fantastic. Floff, what's happened? I've missed something, have I? I was reading the comments. Have we had an incident? I think we've had someone who's had an incident somewhere, haven't we? Hang on. KD has had an incident with Riley. What has happened? Oh no, that's not good. As KD then is 14th at the moment. Good job that the stream is about 10 seconds behind. But KD has had some issues, and now he's oh dear. I'm not. That looks like it's that steering wheel issues there for KD. Of course, KD racing here tonight. And of course, he went to the first ever Las Vegas Grand Prix in 2023, didn't he? KD did. Unfortunately, though, this is not going to be a happy hunting ground for KD at the moment, because there's technical groundings in that Alpine, which you shouldn't be too surprised by, because that Alpine has been the worst car on the grid for Formula 1 this year, which is, and also the very interesting developments in terms of the driver changes and all that kind of saga going on with Flavio Briatore. Never changed Flavio, but I do feel that Jack Doohan, I was watching the video actually. I think there's a YouTube channel, The Race, who was just talking about Alpine driver changes earlier on this year as well, weren't they? Of course, Colin Pinto almost certainly is going to be named the second Alpine driver for next season, which means we've only got 3 more seats to be confirmed in F1, which is all exciting stuff. Of course, that is the 2 Red Bull teams of the Racing Bull and the Red Bull themselves. But Colin Pinto is almost certainly going to be the second Alpine driver. But I must say, I do feel for Jack Doohan, because yeah, he had 3 big crashes in the first 6-7 races, but he wasn't too bad. And Colin Pinto also was crash happy as well. KD equals TK. Did I say TK? Goodness me. And TK hasn't even raced for a very long time. Look at KD. He's out of deployment here. KD, and he's still 6 fastest. This is KD's first race. Well, actually, he did race in Sao Paulo. I apologise, KD. He's going to lambast me now, isn't he? But this is well, I was going to say it's his first race since Netherlands, but that's an absolute lie. But sadly for KD, for Kiki, he has not scored a point since round 12 in Hungary. And back then, I did consider Kiki to be a championship protagonist, albeit he did tell me that he was working, so he was going to miss some races. but I always get very excited indeed. And of course, talking of excitement, remember that AC Immortal, this part of the course here, had issues last night, and the gap is down to 5 points in the World Drivers' Championship in gold. Then this could be the potential, the closest championship in ALR gold history, of course, and 5 points then separates the two championship protagonists, going with just 2 more rounds to go then. And of course, I don't think the classification has been locked in just yet then, so there could be penalties drifting, all that kind of stuff. Remember what happened in Sao Paulo. Mayron there, very much cranking the wheel left there, coming into the out of the strip, then coming into the final turn now. There's to go under the Louis Vuitton advertising boards and across the line, and pole position there for the championship leader, as a lovely chrome McLaren there, of course, takes it back to the good old days of McLaren. Albeit we got some good new days for the McLaren team, haven't we? R2B currently 18th on the grid at the moment. Luke down in 17th position. KD then, we got a 5-place grid penalty, I think, for KD for issues earlier on in qualifying now after contact with the Ferrari of Riley. It'd be interesting to hear what both drivers make of that then. I haven't seen anything just yet. I'll read the comments out because, of course, I love sharing. Sharing is caring. Kydal down the back straight, but he is now feathering off there, which means the camera race is going to get through as well. Vestier 10th at the moment, but unfortunately the Alpine machine has not got a slipstream, and has also invalidated his time as well. So we're going to stick with Luke, or we're going to stick with R2B. Let's stick with R2B at the moment. Then ES Sosa, time runner so far, that has set a time on the board. Sorry, I was messing about my phone there, which I can't do two things at once. So currently R2 beat 10th per second away from Luke, who is the second slowest at the moment. Real Ashton, hello. I'll read out your comments in just a jiffy. Can I read out your comment now, actually, before I go into... No, I can't. I'm a slow reader, Ashton. Apologies. I've got reading age of a 5-year-old, and even then, I think that my 5-year-old nephew, my 5-year-old nephew Kai would probably read better than me as well. Hey, I'm in IT. Gosh, I don't like speaking to people, and we don't like writing to people either. We just send emojis and gifs. KD coming back in the pits. Well, I think a lot of drivers are abandoning their times here. I think Camera Racer is still out on circuit as well. This will be gold on Monday night next season, bronze on Wednesday. Plus side, I can make some EFL games next season unless you bring in an extra tier for me to win, says that Real Ashton. Of course, I don't think it's been announced yet, hasn't it? But I've already let the cat out of the bag. Why have I got a cat in the bag then? That's animal cruelty, Sean. Yes, I know, that's shocking. And Stephanie, they're going to call me Kurt Zuma, aren't they? And if we're quite careful, I say. But yes, indeed, of course, we are changing our days next season. Of course, so at the moment, I think it has been locked. I'm not sure if it's been locked in yet. I need to check with the boss and the boss and his secretary. Of course, Alex, the boss, far off his secretary. Goodness me. There, of course, we've got Spiffy, the treasurer. Coming onto the line then for Camera Racer, then is the only driver on circuit that's set on the quick lap and gone full fastest on the second row of the grid. For Camera Racer, it's still a McLaren 1-2, and it feels like that we've rewound back into Australia, haven't we? Good stuff indeed. But yeah, of course, ALR are changing their days. We're hoping to have gold on Monday, silver will be Tuesdays, and bronze will be Wednesdays. And on Sundays, we're going to actually put the event league on Sunday. Whatever that will be, it still remains to be seen. And if we can keep with the 100% wild card, which would be pretty cool, or whether we go down a different route, who knows. It's in Discord, Sean, if you read yours. To be fair, and actually, Mushroom, I've also replied to your comment, which you sent me about 3 weeks ago. I put it again, then. I've got Serious Mushroom giving me grief for all his hard work with all our setups in Red Bull. We're still last in the Constructors' Championship. Here comes the Duke, who didn't really have the best of entries into the strip, so he's abandoned that time and coming to the pits as well. As we mentioned, Duke's had 3 DNFs in the last 3 races, which has curtailed his championship credentials, unfortunately. I'm back into the swing of things, because last night I was tripping all over myself, wasn't I? I feel I just had a bit of stage fright, to be honest. And also because I've got a new table as well. I've got to say, I feel very much more at home then. I've got a new coffee table, which the lid lifts up a bit, so hopefully it's going to make my back not as painful now. I do have a new desk as well, so hopefully I might be able to actually have a proper setup in the not too distant future as well, so we can have co-comms as well, which would be exciting stuff. And also you won't have to listen to me drone on for an hour and a half and all that kind of stuff. However, I got to work out how to get my PlayStation to connect to both my laptop and the TV as well, because of course I use my PlayStation to watch Formula 1 as well. Anyway, that's enough about my life, because let's be honest about it, you don't want to hear about my setup. I would like to hear about your setup as well, because I know a lot of you guys have some really cool setups, don't you? Of course, I know that I know I bang on about Emerson, but of course, because Emerson had a really cool setup actually, didn't he? When he lived in his attic. I'm not sure if he still does live in his attic, to be honest. Of course, talking of Emerson, actually, if Soundstrip Ninja wins the next 2 races, he will equal the record of 33 wins in gold. Then, which of course is actually, which is headlining. Which is headlining by Emerson, because I think Soundstrip Ninja's on 31 race wins. If I'm not very much mistaken, I haven't got me big old overall tally up at the moment because I am lazy, as Kaida's having all problems around the sphere section there. That's pretty disappointing indeed there for Kaida, and he's going to have to abandon that time, because that was like driving a shopping trolley around there. All cars are out on circuit apart from Camera Racer, who's gone early, and Duke is not coming out either. He's down in 19th position there, unfortunately, on board with KD, who has a 5-place group penalty, I believe, Ben. I did call the end of it, I think. As I'm just watching KD, we've got a Haas car in front of us. Is that Gamer? I think that might be Gamer. So let's... Is it? No, it's not Gamer. It's Sweet, actually. So let's see what Sweet is doing. He's a 10th for a second up then, and he comes down the strip now then with 21 seconds to go. Maybe ask someone in IT, Sean. I gotta be honest, sometimes. Oh dear. To be fair though, in my defence, when I do work in IT, I don't do audio and I don't do any of this kind of stuff. I just switch stuff off and back on. Sweet, that was sweeter than that, wasn't it, for Sweet? As he comes into the final corner now, I'm still tickled. He comes into the final corner now for Sweet and across the line, and second fast, and he is in the meet in the McLaren sandwich, and on the front row of the grid is the championship protagonist. That is perfect for Sweet. But, well, I'd say it's not perfect. It's almost perfect. It's not quite Kellogg's. Is that what was that the, I don't know if that was the same or not. Across the line, Briley goes 5th fastest. R2B is 12th, 13th is 5th, KD in 14th position. Duke has finished his lap then. As we've also got the other Kick Sauber of 5th coming into the pits now. I am looking for a Red Bull, I think, and here he is. No, I'm looking for the other Red Bull. Sloth, can I make it? What car am I looking for? I don't know. It's Gordo I'm looking for. He's 11th on the grid there, and he's got past his teammate. That's great stuff indeed there for Gordo. I was looking at the complete wrong car then, goodness me. The Racing Bulls need to be a white, don't they? Because Haas is white for some reason. Out of the final turn there for Kiki. Now I'm looking at a Red Bull, but of course I think the time has come and gone. Kiki almost out of deployment. He's hit the deployment limit, but has he done enough? He's 7th on the grid for Kiki in the Red Bull car. His teammate coming up to the line as well. Sloth stays 18th position on the grid then. What about Tori? And we got a bit of a race going on between Tori and the Mercedes. The real Fig is the real deal in 11th position as well. And Kaidal is a 10th for a second up, but I think he's running out of deployment, so this is going to be painful. He's going to be basically crawling to the finish line here. He might lose a bit of time. And I think he did lose a bit of time there for Kaidal. Just ran out of deployment a bit too late there. And it is going to be Mayran on pole position once again for the 8th time this season. For the 2nd time in a row after pole position last time out in Sao Paulo. Lovely job indeed. And that's also Mayran's 12th pole position of his career in Grand Prix racing by just under a 10th of a second. I'm looking very devilish there indeed. There. Still got some of the Halloween vibes there, has Mayran. Fantastic stuff indeed. Pole position, number 12 of his career, number 8 of the season. And Sweet is very much the meat of the McLaren sandwich there. Question is Marky going to help his teammate? McLaren are almost home and dry in terms of the Constructors' Championship with just 3 rounds to go, including this one. who's going to say good stuff indeed on tomorrow's bronze race then. I'll do the comms bronze unless we get Alex in via VPN. Why have I got VPN on the brain? Via satellite, as they used to do in old wrestling, didn't they? Good luck all, says R2B then. Both on a hot lap. That's not good, says Serious Mushroom. And I've also got a notification about watching Sunderland against Everton as well. Fantastic. And also Farf needs to update the stat bot and the check-in for silver as well. And it's also 14 degrees outside. In my flat at the moment, it's only 13.5 degrees. But I'm quite tight when it comes to the old when it comes to putting the heating on. I actually did put the heating on the weekend, to be fair, because I need to dry my pants. Right, let's get on with the Grand Prix, shall we? Of course, I think that we are basically next door to the Las Vegas race in 1981 and 82 at Caesar's Palace, of course, which was a very interesting race. Was it voted the worst race or something like that in F1 history? Well, it wasn't too far off, was it? And unlike last night, we've actually got a driver who is on the hard tyres. Last night, everyone was on the medium tyres, while tonight it is Farf who's going against the grain, and he is on the hard compound tyres, and I've got indigestion. Mayran, 12th pole position of his career, and of course he's got a 22-point gap between himself and Sweet, who is second position. Remember, Sweet is very much on a good run of form then, is Sweet then. He has finished on the podium in the last 6 races, or 5, no, it is the last 5 races there. Since the Dutch Grand Prix, Sweet has been on the podium in every single race. Too much info, sure, there, so what do you mean? Why don't you want to hear about my pants? I could tell you the colour. Third position is Markey. Fourth is Cap. You can tell when Alex is not around, isn't it? Because of course I'm going to get a slap wrist in the chat until 2 weeks today. Cameron in fourth position, Riley in fifth. Then again, Farf might give me a smacked wrist, or maybe something else. Riley in fifth. Sixth is Vester. Great qualifying for Vester. Actually, between Vester and Riley for my start qualifying. Kiki in seventh with Jitter down in eighth position. There. Ninth is Gamer, and 10th position is Tori. The real figure. Great qualifying performance in 11th position for the Mercedes car. 12th position and 13th is the 2 racing bulls of Gordo and Cut Out. Of course, the team will be on a high after the collision the constructors. R2B in 14th position. Farp has gone hard. Tyres, Alice in 15th. Irvine in 16th position. The second Ferrari. 17th is Luke with Sloth in 18th. Duke is down in 19th. And Katie with a 5-place grid penalty after the shenanigans with the Ferrari in 20th position. There's a lot of gap between first and 20th here, so I think that this process might need to be moved along a bit, as Martin Brundle would say. Mayran's going to be on that pole position for quite a number of seconds here, which means that his tyres are going to cool down. Same with Sweet, same with Markey as well then. Mayran will disconnect lap 5, says Serge Brundle. I think the internet's doing much better now. Look at this thing. KD and Duke is just rolling up to the finish line now, the start line grid now, but they are so far behind here. Sloth in the real figure missed their grid box and are going to start slightly further back, and you can see it's a unique starting grid there, of course, because it is a curved starting grid, very much similar to Spa before the renovations had. 5 lights are on here in Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's go with just the championship battle down to 22 points, and it's a great start for the 2 McLarens, and Sweet's had a pretty disappointing start. His job down into 3rd position. Markey is in 2nd, but the Sweet is going to be on the outside into turn 4. He is, and that is a terrible start from Sweet then, because that's going to allow Mayran to just pull away, or is he? Look at Mayran, he's flying. There's yellow flags. Has won the one of the racing Bulldogs, won the Red Bulls off, and Sloth's off the circuit there at the front in the first sector. And now we got more battling going on into turn 2 and 3. Sloth is recovering. Duke is down into 19th position. Mayran leads. It's a McLaren 1-2. Are they going to play games now? Markey is technically out of the championship now, albeit almost anyway, as we've now got Tory fighting with the Ferrari of Irvine, going through the sphere section as well, then is going to bang wheels, and they've come together, and it's an almighty shambolic performance down there, and I think that's Farf with the damage to the front nose cone as well. There he is then, and of course unfortunately they just drove into each other, didn't they? Out the exit, the sphere section, and there is damage now on a few cars here, and that is not ideal at all, is it? And a terrible start then at the back of the field. Back at the front then, Mayran leads this race out, and of course a win today will put him in the box seats to win the race, to win the World Championship for silver in a week's time in Qatar. There's pot stuff. Come on, Matty, out to the final turn then. As you can see, they're trying to gap Camera Race already. Lap one completed. Look at the gap there. Half a second there between the two McLaren and Mercedes, and followed by Sweet, followed by Camera Race, and of course there's Mayran says the fastest up of the race. Obviously, as what is going on here, there's more cut, there's fighting, there's Gordo, Jenna, and Gamer all swapping positions. And as we got pit stop drama, as Farf and Luca both in the pit lane then. An early pit stop indeed then. What are they doing, says Cirrus Mushroom now. Of course, I don't think the drivers left each other enough racing room then. And of course, sadly, they just, it just felt a bit silly now, didn't it? Jenna there almost into the back of the Racing Bull of Gordo's up 4 positions. A great start there from Gordo. So we've got Farf and Luca are into the pits, and as well, also going up 5 positions is KD, as Kaidal is recovering now, and there's damage to the Racing Bull as well. Then it's been a very action-packed start then to this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Flying past us now then and coming onto the strip, then of course DRS is now available, and that is going to be a major part of this Grand Prix. Camera Racer is just in DRS, which is a very important indeed then. So we're going to have a lot of gaps then at this stage. I remember last night in Gold then they were so close in terms of the gaps, isn't it? Very much Lionel Stern, as here comes Sweet then, and Sweet then is at the moment, he is losing 10 points. The gap is a nat. Well, just I say that, look, Marky's going for it. I thought he was going for it, but he decides against it, and the McLaren on course to clinch the Constructors' Championship here tonight. And I think that'll be their second Constructors' Championship in silver. I should have read that before the start of the race then, but of course, as you heard, I was chomping on my sandwich to celebrate World Sandwich Day. Across the line once again, Sweet has set the fast up of the race. Of course, he had a double toe, didn't he, down the down the strip there, didn't he? And of course, as you can see, look at the harvesting going on already. This is going to be a continuing factor of this Grand Prix. It's going to be about harvesting as well. DRS said on the back straight there before we go onto the strip as well. Cut out into the pits then. So we didn't have a safety car last night, did we? But I am expecting a safety car in probably the next 2 races here tonight, and maybe in bronze as well. Of course, a street circuit, it's a higher probability that you will get safety cars. The real fig is all over the gearbox of Tori, as well as Tori's also in turn very close to the back of no, he isn't. He's about 2 seconds away at the moment now. It's just on board with the real fig. Love the helmet design there from Ollie Behrman at the moment. Both my kittens are watching and attacking the cars on stream. Shame they can't see in their way. Can't see because I'm in their way, or they're in my way. Says Real Ashton there. Oh, I read that the wrong way around there, but there we go. I almost got there in. Big old lockups there. As of course we go onto the strip again, it's very important to get a good run out of that precarious chicane. Well, then the chicane is I can't even remember what corner name is. Like number 16 or 17 now. I need to look at the track map, don't I, tomorrow? Goodness gracious me. As of course, as we got Fig has got past Tori. Yes, he has. There he goes. And I think the Duke might. Well, Duke's got no DRS there, or maybe he closed it well before. Oh gosh, and clumping the curbs there, and more debris coming off of the cars there. I don't think it's damaging the cars, I don't think, but it's certainly not healthy either. The 2 McLarens there, fighting Lionel Stern at the moment there. This is the first time that we've seen the 2 McLarens right up there in a very long time. Last time that Marky got on the podium was actually back in the British Grand Prix, round 10 there. Umpteen races ago, wasn't it? But Marky is back in the prime then. Maybe those 2 weeks respite there for the McLaren driver has done him the world of good, but of course whether he's going to be allowed to attack his teammate, that is going to be the story of the race here tonight, isn't it? Whether Marky is going to be allowed to attack, as he is almost mathematically still. Oh, that was a big clump to the wall there for Mayran. Hopefully he hasn't damaged the front nose cone, but well, certainly the front wing. Anyway, the end plate is still on there, but that is certainly going to entice the second McLaren of Marquis. And here is Marky then, who is really putting pressure on his Sweet there. And look at how deep that camera went into that, when it's that left-hander there. I thought he was going to be in the wall. And now once again, then we are dragging down the strip. And this is only the third appearance that Las Vegas has been on the ALR calendar. My goodness me. And now here's Riley going through. Riley up into fourth position. Great maneuver. As a Marky, I think, might be more concerned about the Haas car rather than attacking his teammate. Vessier has passed Camera Racer as well. Vessier up in the fifth position. Strong performance for the Alpine driver. And then we got Kiki followed by Gordo. Jinner and Gamer have swapped position there, but they're fighting. That's going to... How they got through that chicane is beyond me. Fantastic stuff indeed. But Jinner there is not going to give this one up there, is he? As he's now all over the gearbox of the Haas car, flying past there to complete another lap here in Las Vegas. But no dice so far. He might have a chance down into turn 5. Duke has got past the Real Fig on the outside. Real Fig is going to try and keep it on the inside, but the Duke is free and now up into 13th position. He's up 6 positions so far in the opening 5 laps of this race. And this race is going to be quite a short race there, because even though with there's low amount of laps then, only 25 laps then, which is quite short then, of course. I think that's the... second or third lowest laps of the season, but of course the high speeds around here is quite high then, isn't it? Of course that's as technical as I'm going to get here tonight. Back at the front, McLaren Haas, of course Haas, the American based team, and they're going to be cheering, aren't they, in the grandstands for Sweet. And look at Riley is very much got out of Camaro's slipstream, is now absolutely flying there. He is coming free, he is coming up to behind these drivers like a hot knife through butter, and there he goes then. And now is Marky, he's going for it. I think Marky's going to take the lead. He's done it. And what about Sweet there's been wrong-footed there. Now he's going to swoop through, is he has gone for it as he takes second position. Mayran has lost the lead and second position, and now he's behind his teammate. Apologies about the rubbish camera work there. As flying past as well. Far from bronze confirmed, then Gordo is flying, says Sarah Splasher as well. And also, that means more rain in bronze out of Farf's about absolutely. Farf brings the rain. They call him Pitbull. I like that song, by the way, from Pitbull. Incredible. Because it came out in 2011, which is shocking now, but I only ever heard it on TikTok about a couple of months ago. And the inside goes Sloth in up in 15th position there. Tori's going to try and go up and under here then, but of course Sloth has the position, has the high ground, has the 15th position there. Of course, as Obi-Wan is taught us, having the high ground is very important. Marquee, and then we got Sweet then. Mayran is about 6 seconds back, 6 tenths of a second back at the moment. The top 4 is now fighting away. There's Vestia. He's got to find about a tenth of a second to get into DRS then. Because then we'll have all the top 8 within DRS range. Jinner's 4 seconds back then. And then we've got Gamer, who's all over the back as well. So as we're on board with Sweet then, this is good news for Sweet at the moment. But remember, it's a race of 2 halves like last night, because it was looking good for Molto at this stage last night, but unfortunately finished 6th, and it's cost him a lot of points. Marky has disappeared, hasn't he? He's had a great run out of turn 16, I think it is. Then I really need to sort those sort the numbers out here, as we got Gordo getting past Camaro. He's now in 7th position. Camera Racer qualified 4th on the grid, is down into 8th now then, Camera Racer, and he's struggling for the performance here. As Vester's also lost out as well. He's lost 7 tenths of a second somewhere, and that is taking him well out of DRS range. And look, Mayran is now falling into the clutch of Riley, who is driving superb. Riley, in the last couple of races or so, is having an absolutely incredible form, isn't he? Am I looking at the right? I am indeed. Good stuff indeed there for Riley, getting 2nd position in the Belgian Grand Prix. Very good stuff indeed. R2 Beat is in the pit lane then. The 2-stop last night, I think there was only one driver that did 2-stop strategy, and it didn't work at all. I think that was Van Von. So I feel that it should be a straightforward 1-stop, and there's a lot of straights around here. Tyre wear should be at a minimum. But I said that last night, and I don't think many drivers agreed with me, to be fair, did they? But that is my thinking anyway. Marky, followed by Sweets. Then we got Mayran in 3rd position. Riley is just dropping back ever so slightly. Vestia is very quick in the middle sector, isn't he then? So he's got a bit more downforce, maybe, that Alpine car, compared to the drivers around him. R2B's gone to the hard tires. Cut out also onto the hard tires as well. As Sweet is out of DRS of Marky. Marky has scampered off here. Was he out of DRS in the detection zone then, as we're just on board at the Haas? No, he was out of DRS range, and now that he could be a sit and duck, and as here comes Mayran, then he's going to be catching up, and I think he's too far back at the moment, albeit 8/10 a second is not too far back, but in the grand scheme of Formula 1 it is. Kiki now in the 5th position, getting past Bessie, who's dropped down to 6th position as well. Can Kiki now gap that 2-second buffer? And here comes Duke then, who is through past Irvine, and Gamer is just a stretch too far for the man who's third in the championship. Bad qualifying. It's left him in 11th position as well. So Duke trying to come through the field, and into the pits comes Gamer. That could be the first of the top 10 scheduled stoppers. It is indeed. Haas mechanics are ready to take Gamer. Here comes Vessier. Vessier DRS and down this short straight then. Well, it's not really a short straight, is it? But it's a shorter straight compared to the strip, of course. But I think that Vessier is too far back at the moment. Sweet now is caught right back up to Marky. I reckon that Marky probably over-deployed at the ERS deployment, of course, the electrical recovery system. And these F1 cars are hybrid since 2014, which makes me feel very old and very sad as well. 12 years that the hybrid's been in F1 now. Goodness gracious me. That doesn't feel like 12 years ago, 12 years out. And how it's flown by with... is that damage on the Haas car? No, it isn't. It's okay. I got very concerned there, and I'm sorry to all you Sweet fans out there who probably got concerned as well as Sweet there. That would have given you a bit of a scare, wouldn't it? Of course, but Sweet there is very much, as we mentioned, he's in a good run of form there, and he's now in front of his championship protagonist, and is taking away more points. And of course, the gap between second and third is only 3 points. So the gap will be down to 19 points as Vessier has got past Kiki quite early on there, because Kiki has got no DRS there. So of course you can see the top four now broken away. Riley's had an issue somewhere and has dropped off the top 3, which the top 3 seems to be in a world of their own at the moment at this stage, and it's been incredible performance indeed that as the top 3 are still not coming in the pits. And I've got to say, that map always makes you think that they're coming into the pits. And Vessier then followed by Kiki, Gordo in 7th position, Gordo in 7th position. Into the pits comes Jenner as well. 3 seconds the gap between himself and Camaro. The undercut last night was quite powerful, wasn't it? So whether it's going to be powerful here tonight is what remains to be seen. It's all about track temperature, and of course also about the tyres themselves. And these Pirelli tyres are very much a magical art, aren't they, in Grand Prix racing? Into the pits comes the Aston Martin of Tory as well, and he hasn't changed the front nose cone there for Tory. There's damage to the left-hand side end plate. That's going to give him a horrendous amount of understeer, and you can see there's Bert Mylander primed and ready to go, but we haven't seen him so far, have we, at this week's event? So really good driving there from all drivers up and down the field. Back at the front then, of course, the top 3 are now stretching their legs out. Riley is now 2.5 seconds back. Then Vessier is still a second out of that DRS detection, which has very much been about DRS, hasn't it? I've talked about DRS so many times, haven't I, over the past couple of hours. Of course, it's very important. How here comes Sweet. He is very close, isn't he? Now, is he going to be close enough to make a move into the chicane? And here he comes, and the McLaren. Oh, and was that a late manoeuvre there from Markey? Well, Sweet wanted to go on the inside there, but Markey was on the inside anyway. And did he jolt to the left-hand side ever so slightly? Maybe. But Sweet there might be a bit unimpressed by that then, but whether Sweet should have gone for the other side of the road also remains to be seen as well. But here comes Mayran going this way and that way. He's on the outside then. Sweet is going to go defence then, and one of the McLaren are now starting to perform tactical tactics in this Grand Prix. Markey then is now, look at this, Mayran all over the gearbox of the Haas car, as now the Sweet is getting very defensive indeed. That is a 2 championship protagonists that going wheel to wheel here in Vegas. My word. And now Mayran there is still behind at the moment. They're all contact with the outside barrier. My goodness gracious me, we've got more pit stoppers. Vessier has pitted, and so has Kiki as well, and they're all on the hard tyres. His Gamer is gone medium by the looks of things. It's a mistake for Gamer, because that's now a 2-stop strategy for the second Haas car. The real thing is now in the 5th position. Irvine is up into 5th as well, with Riley also not stopping either. My power just pooed on my screen, scared me to death. Well, I think that's what it says anyway. As my goodness me, look at this, and as Mayron is just pushing Sweet then, as Sweet is now out of DRS, and I think this could be an overtake then, as this could be for championship points are now going to be lost to gained here, because Mayron is going for the harvesting from the Haas car, now wheel to wheel down the strip, and Mayron takes second position. Marky is out of DRS, he is checked out, hasn't he? Now, is he going to want to help his teammate? Look at Mayron, he's just parked on the apex, hasn't he? And he was not letting the Haas driver through. My word, and Sweet, and look, Mayron's covering it as well, so Sweet was in, then Mayron, I think, made the late corner into the pits. Marky is staying out here. Incredible. Kiki has got past Vessier, moving himself up into 7th position. Vessier down into 8th position. As now he got down the McLaren mechanics and almost certainly going to be guaranteed Constructors World Champions as this race finishes at the moment. Sweet then is also out as well, but it's not a good enough stop for the Haas, and goodness gracious me that you can't get any closer than that. It's a great stop from the Haas cars. For the Haas mechanics there, Jenner set the fast of the race, but it's not enough to get himself out there. And now then there's Kiki. There, look at this, Vessier there is got in front of Riley, so that's not ideal. The undercut is powerful around here, isn't it? I think Marky's in trouble here, isn't he? Sweet will be mad about that then. Wonder if Sweet has minor damage, then says Cirrus Mushroom. So I was thinking that do you reckon Sweet should have gone to the other side of the circuit then potentially. But Cirrus Mushroom feels that Marky might have been a bit too robust there in his defence for the Grand Prix lead. Gamer is on the medium tire, so we'll have a pace advantage, but I'm not sure what the Haas mechanics have done there. Maybe Gamer is trying out the medium tires for his teammate potentially to see what the... Oh, Camaro's disappeared and is out of the race, and hopefully he can get back in then pronto, but this is painful. Look at how much time he loses. This is probably one of the worst tracks to lose connection, isn't it? Sweet, now we got Kiki, then we got Vessier. I think that, now let's see, is Sweet going to be happy that Kiki and Vessier are behind him? I'm not sure yet, as we're just seeing what happens, and I think as Marky is coming into the pits now. Look at the slipstream braking here then. As long as you don't do excessive weaving, I think that you should be okay, but Sweet then, I feel that this is mission critical. I'm wondering then if Sweet dives up the inside, is Mayron going to just jump out the way? Of course, he does have a points advantage there, but this is mission critical, isn't it, for the World Championship, I feel, for Sweet. Of course, we still have 2 rounds to go after this one, and now here comes Sweet up the inside, but Mayron there covers it off, and Marky, look left, there's Marky coming up the pits now, and the 2 McLarens are going side by side. Sweet there needs to get through, I feel then, but Marky has parked himself just in front of these 2. Oh my goodness me, and Marky's trying to squeeze Sweet then as we go down the back straight. Sweet is going up the inside into turn 2. Marky that breaks later, and Marky is still in front of Sweet, and this is golden now for Mayron to extend his race lead and potentially extend his World Championship lead as well into the Stratosphere section once again. Incredible stuff indeed. Not blaming Marky, hard to guess which way someone will go, says Cirrus Mushroom, but Cirrus Mushroom did say the Sweet will be unhappy about that. Maybe I'm putting words into Mushroom's mouth, but clip that somewhere. So just back with Sweet as well then. Of course it is very hard, isn't it? And I'm reckon the Sweet as Marky got into the wall there, certainly both Sweet and Marky had a very compromised exit, didn't they, out of that left-hander, and now here comes Marky, here comes Sweet, and there comes Kiki, and Kiki that who hasn't been on the podium since the Hungarian Grand Prix, and now here comes Sweet, and look at this, as gaining once again, and then Sweet is on the outside, but Marky comes off and goes in deep and keeps second position now. Incredible racing indeed then. I've got to say, this is action-packed then, as my PlayStation quit out a black screen of death there, unfortunately. Here comes Kiki, and Kiki's going to have the advantage. He's on the outside of Sweet then. Sweet's going to have to get defensive there. What's that contact? There's more contact. Sweet says nerfed out Kiki slowly off the road there, and that's allowed Vessier to get through into 4th position there. Gordo and Jenner, oh my goodness me, there's 3 abreast there. Contact, you did a spin. Oh, and into the side goes the Williams of Duke there, and Duke's recovery drive has been hit quite majorly by the Haas spinning Haas of Gamer, and that is damaged Duke, and I feel that Duke is going to major understeer now That is just unlucky then. That is just unlucky, isn't it, for Duke, who was on course for an incredible performance out there tonight. But that is a horror show. It really is there. Unfortunately for Duke, he's going to be frustrated. Came around the right-hander, and there's a half-spin in a Haas car. Not good at all. Haas car, not NASCAR. It's sweet there. Did he just have to overcorrect the slide there? He's not going to be as under pressure as last up. And look at this once again. Once again, Markey is back in the DRS of his teammate here. But Markey at the moment is playing a lovely game in terms of keeping Sweet in the background. Problems in the background as well. The Mercedes is off the circuit. It's the real Fig. He's off there as he recovers now. Has he got damage there? I cannot see. Jinner and Gordo, who were fighting earlier on then, as I think there is damage to the outside end plate of the Mercedes. There is indeed, unfortunately. Oh dear, coming across the line once again. Vester's all over the gearbox, or was all over the gearbox of the Haas of Sweet. But now then there's status quo. Where's Gordo? There he is. And there's Jinner as well, as Jinner has lost out to Gordo. Gordo, we haven't seen the pace from Gordo for this season, most of this season. Of course, they got a brilliant victory in the Belgian Grand Prix, but Gordo's really struggled. But tonight he has the pace in that racing ball and is driving absolutely outstandingly well. But of course, he does have Jinner behind him, who's going to be very interested. The real Fig is in the pits there. Unfortunately for the real Fig, having damage. I'm not sure if he had a helping hand down that escape road or not. I do not know. But Farfus moved us out in 70th position. Camera Racers, the only retirement in this race so far. Marquis is still just above in DRS range of Mayran. As a serious mushroom. As of course, there's always instances, isn't there? But I must say, it's actually Sweet out DRS. Oh my goodness me. That is crucial. And of course, he's already losing 10 points. And the gap will be up to 32 points at the end of this one. It could be up even further. It could be up even more. And here comes Vestier. The two McLarens have shot off into the distance now, and Sweet is harvested. And now this is going to be very much Vestier. Would love to get a podium. I think Vestier's already had 2 podiums this season. Can he get a third here tonight in Vegas? My word there is that Jinner has got past Gordo and moved us out back up in the 7th position. Currently, Gordo is my driver of the day. He's been superb out there at the moment, but sadly, I don't think I'm allowed to pick driver of the days because, of course, the Welsh Ronaldo incident, and that was bronze a few years ago. Oh my goodness me, and Kiki defending robustly on the Ferrari driver. You can see then the undercut has really hurt Riley, hasn't it? Of course, getting Vestier and Kiki have both got past. KD has got a 3-second penalty for his troubles. Sweet needs to lock in here, doesn't he, as the youth would say. He needs to lock in and see if he can get that 3/10 of a second buffer down. Markey is all over the gearbox of his teammate. He could potentially help the rival of Sweet then. As it stands around, McLaren will be Constructors champions. We'll never 1-2. I think this will be their third 1-2 of the season. But also Markey would, I think he's out of the championship if things stay as they are. Even if they swap positions, Markey would not be mathematically in the championship anymore, but of course he'll be helping a rival in terms of Sweet then, albeit Sweet is still out of DRS range at the moment there, flying underneath us and now on that back straight. Yes, I remember Becca Gates says Serious Mushroom is, of course, Serious Mushroom was one driver that was very much upset by the Driver of the Day award, mainly because it was Serious Mushroom who probably deserved that Driver of the Day award as well. And through goes Markey and takes the lead, and Sweet is down into 4th position. Oh, goodness me, it's mission critical now. But for Sweet then, but the only good thing is that Mayran has lost the lead. That is Markey going to help Mayran here, because every point I think is crucial in the outcome then. As Irvine Gamer fighting, oh, contact there between the two cars as the Ferrari is resembling a shopping trolley. Gamer into the pits there, and that two-stop strategy really hasn't worked for Gamer, hasn't it? You lose too much time in the pits, I feel. It's very much similar to Italy, isn't it, with the amount of time you lose. Sweet down into 4th position, as the Haas driver, and 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. And now Kiki and Briley is now all over the back of Sweet as well. Sweet is going from eyes forward to defending here, as what's happened to Kiki? Kiki had a horrific acceleration there, and Riley is now all over the gearbox, and you can see even the emoji sphere is become fuffled by Kiki's lack of acceleration there. My goodness gracious me. McLaren is now almost 2 seconds up the road from Vessier, so McLaren team then might be able to just slipstream each other along here. Whoa, it's Mayran almost into the wall there. Goodness gracious me. Might be able to slipstream each other along now. You can see the gap doesn't look too big, does it, in the foreground in that long shot? But it is quite big now, isn't it? You lose the slipstream effect, you lose the DRS effect as well, as Marquis is through, and no, Mayran is through and takes the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I was going to say Azerbaijan for some reason, even though that straight is quite... no, it doesn't. Sure, come on. Mayran leads the race, Marquis in second, Vessier in third position, Sweet is still in fourth there. The gap is now 2 seconds there. Sweet then, at the moment, is now about 30... hang on, let me get my calculator on. So it was 32, 33, 34 points now the gap is, as now we go into turn one once again then, and 34 point the gap is. They're going into Qatar next week then, which is not good for me, because that means I've got to do the championship graphic as well, as Alex is swong-songing in Sao Paulo somewhere. Oh, goodness me. How dare he? Yellow flag, what's happened? There's something that's gone majorly wrong there, as it's this part of the circuit here. One of the Alpines of KD, who's he's not really crawling, is he? One retirement so far. Camera out of the race, I lost connection. And unfortunately, since then, hasn't been able to get back in. Now it was a system error. What a poo at first time in a race there for Camera, who was battling in the top 10. So that is points lost then for Kick Sauber. So I think that the camera will be sending the bill and all that prize money to Sony, and I don't blame him whatsoever. Out of the right hander. Whoa, it's Kiki! I thought he lost it there, and I must admit there he just very much line up those rear tyres of that Red Bull. My goodness gracious me, as Mayran has lost the lead. There's McLaren are swapping positions at the moment there between Marquis and Mayran. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if Marquis Sweet is back up in the third position. That is critical, I think. Every point is going to be crucial on the outcome. Oh, and he's locked up there, and the car was sideways, but he somehow slowed the Haas down, and Vessier's had a horrific... Oh, was it Vessier that slid there? Because he's lost a lot of time there. Gordo is through, passes Jinner. Jinner there is giving him a helping hand now, and now there goes Jinner, and Jinner's through, back up into 8th and 7th position. There he goes, flies past as well, wheel to wheel, almost touching down the start, finish straight. Gordo is back up into 7th there. Wow, incredible racing. Vessier's out of DRS. That is crucial. If Sweet can keep Vessier out of DRS range before the strip section of this circuit, then I think that Sweet will not be home and dry then, but I think that the pressure will definitely abate ever so slightly. Kiki, great drive here tonight, and of course hasn't scored since the Hungarian Grand Prix back in round 12. Of course, Kiki was a part of the championship battle in the summer. Of course, he has started to drop off mainly because a lot of times he's been working. Sweet showing off now, says Serious Mushroom. I must admit that I thought it was curtains for Sweet then, and the gap is now over a second now. And now here the McLaren team then once again then, lap 18 out of 25 here then, so we come down the strip once again. Marquis and Mayran are swapping positions then. I think the McLaren team, as we are now on board now with the championship leader, the McLaren team have had 2 1-2s this season, hoping to have a third here tonight in Vegas, and through goes Mayran, and what a way to clinch the Constructors' Championship. Aston Martin have had an issue. It's one of them. Oh gosh, I swallowed my tongue now. And it's Tori who's got damage. He's already had damage anyway. As Gordo and Jinner renewed hostilities here. Goodness gracious me. I gotta say then, must say that this feels like for the battle for the podium. As Riley on the outside of Kiki going on the outside of turn 1. Vessier has lost a lot of time. And Sweet has now got the gap to, has gained half a second, I should say. Sloth is through and past KD and moved himself up into 14th position there down the strip as well. Duke is in the pits and struggling, and Duke is going to be absolutely devastated. That's another race with no points, so Duke has not scored, has not even finished the race since the Italian Grand Prix. He has not scored since the Italian Grand Prix either. Now up the inside into the sphere section, not quite, as Riley is really putting the pressure on Kiki and has also putting the pressure on Vessier as well. There are the top 3. Sweet then is now homing in on Marquis, and of course Mayra Mayran still leads this race, and the gap is up to 32 points in the World Drivers' Championship. As it stands, the Constructors' Championship will be won here today by the McLaren team. And I think that I've got me Yoda standards up this time. No, I haven't. Shocking. Hang on, let me get the Yoda. McLaren have never won the Constructors in silver. I apologise profusely. So that'll be their first Constructors Championship in their history. And what a season to do. They've been very good stuff indeed. So now flying down there, Kiki's not scored since Leicester Services. Goodness gracious me. And now on the inside, as Riley trying to sneak down the inside, no dice. And now coming out of the chicane and into the final turn. Well, this is the final turn, isn't it? Let go gold. Good luck, everyone. There's Knowlesy is slightly behind because he's on Brazilian time. Duke is off the circuit then, doing what Immortal did last night. They're down into 60 minutes. He has let Far through, as of course Farf is currently going to be relegated to bronze next season. Goodness gracious me. Of course, Farf would, if he does race in bronze, Farf would next season. That means that he's been a full-time driver in gold, silver, and bronze. Of course, which is similar to what the likes of Gurman have done. Who else has done it as well? There's a couple of drivers as well, but Gurman, one of the most successful drivers that have done it, gone from bronze where he finished third, or was it second, and then won the silver championship, then of course won gold as well, didn't he? But Favre has gone the other way, sadly, but he's also not won any championships either, but he has won a Constructors or two, hasn't he? Crispy Burned Alex enters the chat there. I do think that Alex is probably on the Rio de Janeiro. No, Rio de Janeiro. Do they have a beach in Sao Paulo? I do not know, to be honest. I got to say that the only geography I know is going to Wales and back. That's as far as I've been. I must admit, I'm not a junior. This is a tour of the world. But why would I want to tour the world when I live in the forest? Indeed. Here comes Marky, tongue-in-cheek reference. At the inside goes Marky, retains the lead then. Of course, McLaren go for the third 1-2 finish of the season. Sweet is stuck at about a second and a half. Vessier back in the fourth, and Kiki's back down into fifth with Riley in sixth position. Let's take stock. We're on lap 20 out of 25 here. Marky leads. Mayran in second position there. Of course, now the gap is now 7 points. No, the gap is now only 3 points then between Mayran and Sweet in terms of the points scored here tonight, then, which is going to be a major factor in the outcome of this Grand Prix. Yellow flag. That is one of the. I'm not sure. Is that the Alpines? It is the Alpine and KD, who's kind of in no man's land there. Sloth there is run out of road there, going down the strip, and Gamer has somehow kept 12th position, just about. Back at the front now, as we've got blue flags. There's Kiki almost in the rear diffuser of Vessia. Goodness gracious me. Jean the Friar. What? The Friar Tug of the North, says Serious Russia. The North? I'm not in the North, am I? Hang on, where am I? I'm in Gloucestershire. Where's that? That's next to Wales, I think. So, and I'm more. I don't know where I am. I mean, all I know is I'm in Gloucestershire, which is around by the River Severn. Anyone know where that is? I don't know where I am, to be honest. I don't know where I am most of the time, to be fair. Goodness me, it's great living in Ireland. Mayran on board now. Mayran then is now catching up to his teammate. Look at Sweet! There he is! Oh my word! Sweet is almost in DRS range at the hat of the two McLarens, whilst they have been jostling for position. I think there's been a lot of team etiquette in the McLaren team, which has been splendid stuff indeed. They will be the first ever Constructors champions in their silver career. Fantastic stuff indeed. Now we got Sweet in third position, but Sweet is not interested in the McLaren celebrations. He wants the Drivers' Championship, doesn't he? And now it's mission critical. Even though I've been saying that for a couple of laps, as we got that's a retired, that's a camera racer who suddenly had the blue screen of death. Oh my goodness me! As Riley was, I'm not sure if he was wrong-footed or if he just had too much overspeed on that key. Nope, on that Red Bull. I'm looking at 95, ain't I? Goodness me. As we got Serious Russia, the southwest then. I'm glad you know where I live. Leads in DRS and Edu. Sweet is so close, it's could get spicy. It is spicy. Kiki is through. He's up in the fourth position. Into the pits comes Tori as well. Oh gosh. And Ronnie he's on the inside. Oh my goodness me, the door is always going to shut there, but he's going to try and to see if he can get them overrun here. No, he can't, and of course it's very much follow the leader. Kiki almost spinning. My goodness me, as I've interrupted myself because we got a major news bulletin here, because look, there's the team McLarens, and now Marky is dropping back. Marky is now 8/10 of a second away from Mayran. Is this tactical from the team from Woking here, or is this Marky struggling with his tyres, even though he's got 1 lap less? Sweet is in DRS range with 22 laps to go. Yellow flags, there's a problem. It's Duke, who was the third man in the championship battle, but not anymore. As of course he needed a miracle in this one there. Vessier is through, Riley is through, as the yellow flag said Riley and Kiki are going to be wheel to wheel, side by side. Oh, Kiki into the wall. My goodness me, and Kiki is furious. A 10-second penalty for Duke. As I think there's a lot of frustration on Duke's now. There's going to be frustration on Kiki as well, as he'll be very unhappy with Riley going side by side through that chicane there. And I got to say, my coffee table is going to be having a good old wash here, because unfortunately I am spluttering all over the place. It's like when I spluther when I get some HP nuts. Let's see what happens. I am pumped, haha, says Edu. Absolutely, I'm pumped as well. Sweet is on a mission, limited edition. Goodness me. You should put on a t-shirt. Look, there he is. Oh my gosh. 23, 24. Oh, Sweet's getting a bit wild there, wasn't he, on the traction zone? That's not going to help his rear tyres, even though I've been saying that tyre wear around here is probably at a low. Tory's on soft tyres, and there's we've still got all drivers in this race apart from Captain Racer, who's out of the Grand Prix, had the blue screen of death, even though it's the black screen of death. Of course, unfortunately on that PlayStation, hopefully I don't get it. Here comes Marky. Marky is going to go through it, takes the lead. Is he? He's not. Yes, he is. He's now taken the lead. And Sweet, is that going to put Mayran in the clutches of a championship rival? Oh, this is getting juicy, as Edu says, and down into the big breaking point in the chicane. And look at Mayran there. He's very much harvested. Sweet, I feel that even if he finishes behind Mayran tonight, I feel that he needs to finish in front of him, so he's surely going to go for a wild lunge, is he? He's all over the gap back now with the McLaren, and now he's going to go on the outside. He breaks so much there, he's gone in deep then, and he's going to have to, yes, as Mayran takes the racing line, takes the position, and it stays in second at the moment then. Goodness me, Las Vegas has gone mega in this Grand Prix, and of course in the outcome of the Drivers' Championship there in gold, then it completely swung around last night with South Drift Ninja very much under the fuse now, but Malta with 2 races to go. As it stands at the moment there, Sweet is going to lose 3 more points in the outcome of this championship, and the gap will be up to 25 points there. That is a race win in Grand Prix, in the Grand Prix sphere, so I feel that Sweet is going to have a bite of the cherry on lap 24 out of 25 here. Versier is in 4th position, Riley is in 5th, with Kiki in 6th position, and Sweet is all over the gearbox of Mayran, and Mayran there is very much, I wonder if he was just trying to harvest there, but look at that he's very much in the clutches of Sweet now, and now as we come down the strip once again, of course, if Sweet wins it, that's a big that's a big points advance there, and Sweet is very much still in the facility of the Mayran there, and he's gonna go for it. His DRS is available, and Sweet there, I feel I might be too far back, you know. He is he gonna go for it? He's thinking about it, but he decides not to. That's a lockup. That's a big old lockup. That's a double lockup. That's gonna flat spot those McLaren tyres, and Sweet is once again all over the fuse of the McLaren team. This is the last lap of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. My goodness gracious me, Irvine's moved as well in the 7th position there. Gamers back into the top 10 on that 2-stop strategy. Magnificent. Oh, Sweet's gone wide. Oh no. And I think that is it. He's out of DRS. That one mistake has cost him. He's out of DRS then, as Marky leads. Second is Mayran. Is Marky going to move over and let his teammate through? R2 beat is side by side with Gamer, but Gamer repels the attack, and that's the final place. for the top 10. Duke has set the fast of the race and gets that point then for Duke then, but it's been a very hard fought race for Duke. He did come back through the field up to 10 finish, but unfortunately wrong place, wrong time when Gamer has spun after contact between himself and Jinner. As Sloth having a look as well. No dice, look at that, and Sweet is back in DRS range. I thought it was done and dusted. It is not then. I wonder if Sweet is going to go throw it all against the wall then here. Hopefully not literally. It's going to maybe have a lunge down the strip then. Lovely static camera there. We only see that. Whoa, we just joined Sweet then. He was very much hacksawing away then. What a shame there for Edu is saying there for Sweet. It might all be over then. It's 8/10 a second. It's 9/10 a second. The gap is growing bigger. And now here comes Mayran. And Mayran then is on the cusp of extending his lead then up to possibly 32 points with just 2 races to go. With 52 points left. But Markey is still in the lead of this Grand Prix. Out of the second to final quarter. Sweet then went in deep as well. But Sweet was hoping that he would have been able to score something. But Markey is going to win his second Grand Prix of the season. Markey wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix. McLaren are the Constructors World Champions there. And Myran has got an advantage of how many points has Mayran got then? Mayran has now got a 25-point advantage over Sweet then with 2 rounds to go. McLaren are the World Constructors Champions here tonight. And that's their first Constructors Championship in silver. Not an ALR, of course. They had 2 in gold, didn't they? Or 3. But McLaren, for the first time in their silver history, is now Constructors Champions. Their third 1-2 of the season for the McLaren team as well. Markey gets his first race win since Australia, round 1 there, and what a hard-fought victory that was indeed. Incredible stuff. Absolutely impressive race indeed there. Did the Duke finish? I don't think he did he? Of course, if he didn't finish, then he won't be allowed to get that fast lap point. Unless he was lapped, of course. Was Duke lapped? I think he was lapped, wasn't he? And as long as he crossed the finish line, he would keep that fastest lap point indeed. Great race, says everyone. Absolutely superb stuff indeed there. Well, folks, that was a good race. That wasn't it? Nice drive, Gordon, says Serious Bush as well. Great racing, lads, says Pot Stuff. Absolutely incredible stuff indeed there. So I just need to check to see if Duke actually finished the race. Of course, if he did, then he gets that fast lap bonus point. Albeit commiserations to Duke as he is out of the championship, sadly. But the championship is 25 points, separates Mayran and Sweet then. I wonder what the McLaren team are going to think about that. Markey's first Grand Prix win since Australia in round 1. But I wonder if McLaren was asking Markey to move over potentially. But whatever the case may be, that's Markey's second Grand Prix win of his season. Of course, and that's a very long wait as well. Driver of the day goes to Irvine. I may actually take that actually because Irvine has driven a superb race indeed. McLaren, the third 1-2 of the season. I think he's had the most in a single season. I don't think it is. Haas got the most in a single season with 5 or 6 in season 2, maybe or 3. Markey wins his second race of the season with Mayran in second position. Sweet in third position. McLaren, the Constructors Champions. Mayran has got a 25-point lead in the Drivers' Championship as well. Sweet in 4th with Vestia in 5th. Riley in 6th with Kiki 7th. Irvine 8th. Jitter in 9th. Gordo in 10th position. 11th is Gamer. 12th is Sloth. Sloth is 11th. 12th is RTB. KD in 13th. 14th is Tori. Real Fig in 15th. Farf in 16th. 17th is Luke. Kaidal 18th. 19th is Duke. And Camarasa retired from this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Right, let me quickly take a screenshot of all this jazz. Lovely stuff indeed. I am becoming a serious admin, and fantastic stuff indeed there. I think drive of the day has to go to Irvine, in my humble opinion. What a drive there from Irvine. Fantastic stuff indeed. Is anyone in my party? Sadly, not at the moment. So, McLaren are the Constructors Champions for the first time in silver history. Mayran has a 25-point lead in the championship with 2 rounds to go in Qatar. So Mayran could clinch it. He just needs to finish in front. It's the simple permutations for next week in Qatar is that Mayran just needs to finish in front of Sweet, and the championship is his, along with other stuff as well. Incredible stuff indeed then this one was tonight there. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been superb stuff indeed. And the headline of tonight is McLaren are the Constructors World Champions there. Fantastic stuff indeed. Mayran has a 25-point lead in the Drivers' Championship as we hit the final two races of the season in Qatar. Join us tomorrow night. Sadly, I'm on comms again. Then, of course, there's no expert analysis tomorrow night, so it's just me getting excited and sweaty as normal. So we'll be back tomorrow for bronze, which is even closer than what silver and gold has been. This has been a historic season for championship battles. See you tomorrow night for more bronze, for more ALR action in bronze. Back in Vegas again. Goodbye.